Hi, I'm Dyan Reaveley from Dylusions, and I'm a signature designer with Ranger Industries. And this video, I'm going to talk about my paints. So the first thing that I want to talk about is we've transitioned from jars into these gorgeous little pots that stand like this. Transitioning is never easy. I know a lot of you have still got the jars. I've got a lot of the jars, but there was a lot of thought went into it, and I decided that I was just going to make these little bottles. My bottle stands upright like this. So when you get it, if you think the label's upside down, you've actually got the bottle upside down. So you can see how they stand here. I am in love with these little Scrapbook.com holders, if you can see here how perfect they hold them. So it wasn't an easy thing to talk about moving the paints in, and they'll still be around for a while in the jars, and it's exactly the same paint, so don't worry about it. There's nothing new with the paint, but you're going to be able to buy, these are about half price. There's actually an ounce of paint in here, and in the jars there was 2 ounces. So you're getting a lot of paint in. People think because they're small, they're going to go really quickly, but they don't. They last a long time. I'm only halfway down my bottles that I made tons of samples with. So they're going to last a long time there. Here, we've actually got the cocktails. This is the cocktail range of paint. And I don't know if you can see, but the pick up on camera, this is my last release. These are my normal colours. And can you see how bright these colours are with them? I didn't want to call them neons, but they've got like a really bright fluorescent in there. So I called them the cocktail range because I thought if I named them after cocktails, they'd tell me off, but they didn't. So people always ask, why did you name it that? That's why. So we have here in the warms, we have tropical sangria, we have strawberry daiquiri, and we have mango punch. And then here we've got lemon drop, we've got sour appletini, and we've got blue Hawaiian. So here, as always, I have them in the warms and I have them in the cools, and you'll find the colour charts on Ranger's website. Go to Ranger, look for, I think it's organisation, and you'll find the charts where I've put everything in. So I just want to go with these paints today because all of my paints are the same consistency. All of these in the past are the same. And these are slightly different. These have a slightly different makeup to get that real brightness. So when you're using them, they're a lot more translucent than my others were. My others were semi-opaque, but you could make them opaque really quickly. This is a lot more translucent because of it. Okay, so this is why I want to choose to do with those. I'm just going to pop them back in. I love this holder. I'm going to take it with me. No, she said I can have one. I'm all right. So I'm just going to put it back in there because it's easier to do. So I'm going to do some paints just paint some pages in the journal here, okay? I'm going to do the baby wipe technique, which I do a lot. So I use my Huggies. I take the baby wipe, I form it into a pad, and let's see, shall I do warms or cools? I think I'll do warms. So I'm going to take the mango punch, and I'm just going to squeeze a little bit out. When you get these, by the way, let me show you here, they will have a little thing that you just take off, and that's to protect them for travel. When I first got them, I'm squeezing and nothing's coming out, and then I realised. So just to let you know, there's a little bit in there. Why have I got, that's a good thing to say actually, why have I got them this way up? I wanted a flip top lid, but to me, it doesn't make sense to have jars like this, to have bottles, because all your paint is at the bottom. To me, it makes sense that it's this way up and then it's ready to go. So your paint is here, you just pick it and you can go. So I've got the mango punch. I'm just going to pick some on here, and then I'm just going to lightly, and I'm hoping the camera picks up how bright and fluorescent this is. So I've got that. I'm going to take the pink next. Let's put that there. That's the tropical sangria. And I'm just going to get a clean part of the baby wipe. This time I'm not going to get as much on my baby wipe. And I'm just going to go to the middle of one of the sides, and then I'm going to lightly blend, and then I'm going to go the opposite side and do a corner, and then the opposite side and add a corner. It doesn't really matter. You might notice, look, where I've missed bits and things. That gives you all the texture. That gives you all the interest in there. If I did this perfect, it's just going to look like a piece of card I bought. But saying that, what I don't want you to do is this. I don't want you to do like a big blob. Can you see the difference between that and this here? So just, you know, just light-handed. Then I'm going to take the last colour, and this one is the Strawberry Daiquiri. I'm only going to use a small amount of that, and I'm going to just use a little bit on the edge, and I'm just going to run round the page like so to just give it a little bit of a frame. So that's the first page done. So I'm just going to pop that there because I turn the pages a bit and I always do accidental pages. I'm going to open this baby white back up, and normally when you do this with my other paints, I get lots of paint, but can you see how faint? That's because it's so translucent. So I'm just going to pick up a bit of each colour, and then this is what I call my accidental page. So I'm just going to add some paper to it, some paint to it, then I just do there, and then I'll do another one. I keep going usually until I've got nothing left on my baby wipe. But you can see with these accidentals, with the cocktail range, I just have to pick up more as I'm going along. Okay? You're probably looking at it going, gosh, is that it? Yes. You'll love it when it's finished, I promise you. Okay. So let's pop that there. So normally I would continue, and if I've got one of my dialogues at the side of me on my diary, I would just continue rubbing till that's gone, okay? So I'll come back to the first page here, and then I'm going to add the stencils. So I've got new stencils out. I love new stencils. Whenever we do a show or we get to film, we get new products, and I love it. I love them when they're in their perfect way. So these are my latest release of stencils. So I've got a Stitch in Time, I've got Betsy's Blocks, Martha's Mat, Fancy Floor, Court Jester, and Otis Orbs. So I'm going to choose Fancy Floor. When I stencil, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you on a blank page what I actually do. I'm going to take the foam. This is the blending tool from Range. I'm going to take that, put the foam on, and I'm going to use the first colour. So I'm going to use the Mango Punch. I'm just going to add a bit more of the paint out. I'm going to get some onto the blending tool, and then I'm just going to really work it in. When a lot of people are stenciling, this is what I see that they do. They get this and they go backwards and forwards, and then they'll bang a little bit, then they'll go round and round because they think they're back in the 80s stenciling the frieze on the wall. And when you do it, it looks beautiful, doesn't it? It looks really nice, but you can see this from heaven. So this is not what you want. What you actually want is you want to go very lightly across. Did you see I didn't go back? Now look, can you see? This has got more, this is in the background. A background is called a background because it's in the background. So this is what we want. And I always do 3 areas. I'm just going to get a little bit more paint. I always do it in 3 areas on the page. So I usually start maybe up this side, lightly, across here, and then I'll come down here. I always make a triangle. If you make a triangle, it'll always work. And can you see where you get all this beautiful shading in there? So I'm just going to pop that in and go to the first page. Here we go. So I'm going to do exactly the same on this page. I'm going to come up the top, I'm going to come across here, and then I'm going to come down the bottom. You can see? So you can see it, but it's in the background. It's not sticking straight out. So then I'm going to come onto this one, and maybe I'll start over here this time. And I just always make this triangle. I love the number 3. Your brain's favourite number is the number 3. And Miss Gina Wakely told me that one. But a triangle will always work, okay? So there's the first colour there, and then I clean my stencils. I know a lot of people don't clean stencils, but I do a lot of doodling, and if you don't clean your stencils, it's going to distort the shapes. So I just take a little piece of dry kitchen roll. Never use anything wet, will spread. So a piece of dry kitchen roll, pop that to one side. Then I'm going to take a second pattern. I think I'll take Martha's Mat, and again I'll work on this blank one so you can see it easier. And I'm going to take the second colour, which was the Tropical Sangria, clean blending tool. Just going to get that going. Never put too much paint on. You can always add more paint, you can't take it off. So here we are, we've got the triangle, we've got the 3 spaces that I did before. So what most people do is they think, oh, she said do 3, so now I'm going to go in here, I'm going to go in here and go in here. If you do that, you'll end up with 6 different shapes and your eye will sort of bagatelle across them and you'll be a bit like this. So what you should try to do is still keep these 3 areas. So I'm going to take the stencil and I'm going to lightly stencil and I've slightly joined it. So can you see I've still got that area. I'm going to come down here, there, and then I'm going to come across here. Still have these 3 areas. It looks a bit strange when it's on its own like that, but once you see it on these pages, you should understand. So I'm coming back up here. So I'm going to go there, just lightly. Remember, everybody forgets that you're going to put things on top of this. So remember, a background is called a background because it's in the background. So you can see it. When you look at a background, your eye shouldn't go straight to any one particular place. It should just roam around. So I'll come to this one. And you can see I don't really add much more paint to it. I always start with the main page, so then these get lighter and lighter as they go. I can pick up a tiny bit more. I'll add a bit more on here. And that's the stenciling. Now, sometimes when I'm doing a background, I don't add any stenciling, but it's very rare. I usually add at least 1 colour of stenciling. But do I add more than 2? No, because then your page is going to get really bad. So we're back on the first page. What else would I do? I'm going to put a border on here. Now, normally, I've made 3 pages here. I would make 30 pages. If I've got my paints out, I'm painting. So I would go through a book like this. I would go through, do so many with this colourway, so many with another colourway, and add all those together. And then another day I'll come back and add borders. But I'm going to add the border on. And I've got lots of border stencils, but this is one of my newest ones. This is called a Stitch in Time, and I'm really surprised I never thought to do one of these before with me doing all the sewing. So Stitch in Time, I always do borders with the black, and I just thought I didn't open it. Yeah, there we go. I'll have the paint on there. So I'm just going to put a clean foam on one of the blending tools. These just Velcro off. Just be careful that you don't lift the Velcro, but we just do that. There we go. So a little bit of the black. Dark colours work, but there's nothing like black. Black makes every colour pop, so that's why it works really well with the borders. So I think I'm going to choose, I think I'll choose this one here. So I'm just going to lay it on the side, like so, and then I'm just going to come down all the way down. And then to do this side, without having to do that, it's just easy. Just turn your book. Always make it easy for yourself. So I'm just going to come down this side. Again, not too much paint, otherwise you'll get yourself in a bit of a mess. So I do the 2 sides first, and then I'm going to do the top. Now, if I do this, it's going to come over here. So if I take a piece of the kitchen roll and just place that down there and lay it on the top, anything that overlaps is actually going to go on the kitchen roll. Okay, so I'll just come across here. And if you can see where it's come here, so when I pull it, it gives a really nice edge there, and then I'm just going to fit it in. So I always do the sides first and then fit in the top and bottom around it. Okay, so there's my border, and I'm just going to get that. I just want to show you with this stencil as well. I'll give it a good clean later. There we go. That when I designed it, let me put a clean one on, then I can show you. When I designed it, I did it so this, you can get the blending tool on every single one without it overlapping. Sometimes when you get a stencil and when you're doing this one, part of this appears. So I designed it this way. And also with the small, I put them going the other way up so that the blending tool, can you see, doesn't overlap onto any of the other designs, which I think is important. When this is, I would go on, I would add another border to one of the other backgrounds. I would just keep going, adding borders. And then later, you can see this is the type of thing that I would do. So this is on the patchwork, and you can see where I've added the border. And when it's dry, I've outlined it with a white pen. You can't do it for about 3 hours. If you do it before that, you'll break your pen. You might not think you've broken your pen until you come to use it again, and then it won't work. So this is with my white pen, this is the white linen, this is the black marble. So I quite often, you can see here, if you want to make these stand out more, I doodle. But I tend to do all this in my studio and then I sit on aeroplanes and I do all my doodling together. So you can have your background really subtle, like me, or you can have them like this. Okay, and there's another one where I did it in stripes, but you can see the difference there. So there we go. There's one where I've done different ones, and that's one doodled. It just depends what you prefer, really. So I hope you enjoyed that. Nice, simple, painted background, ready to put things on. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video and you want to see more from Scrapbook.com, please like, share, subscribe, and leave a message. Happiness is life handmade.